Let's talk about the other D, deficits. We talk about debt, and of course, it's the deficits, the cumulative deficits that add up to the debt. Annual budget deficits are projected to come close to $2 trillion on average over the next 10 years. So we have a question about that. That question specifically reads, federal budget deficits are projected to average $2 trillion over the next 10 years. Where does deficit reduction fit within your policy priorities? It closely follows the debt question, but we put it in there because, Steve, you did a little calculation about if you put off trying to reduce the projected budget deficits, the cost of trying to close the gap becomes greater.
Yeah, so there's a calculation that's referred to as the fiscal gap. And essentially that's what's the shortfall between taxes and spending given the current level of debt and given the level of debt that you expect or would like to see in the future. And so, if you started today, the debt is a little less than 100% of GDP, the total debt. It's a little less than 100% of GDP. If you were to sort of maintain that level, as Tori pointed out, it's projected over the next 30 years to almost double, go from, from 100 and less than 100 to almost 180% or over 180%. And so to stabilize that, if you were to start today and implement a policy across the board in each and every year, it would be the equivalent of about $700 billion a year in order to keep the debt from going up from the current level to the 180%. Now, if you waited 10 years, so instead of starting this year, 2023, you waited till 2033, instead of a little less than 700 billion a year, you'd need over 950 billion a year. So, obviously Congress is not going to implement an immediate policy change across the board. But this gives you sort of the sense of magnitude that the cost of delay is going to essentially raise that cost by, 35 to 40%.
Mm-hmm. And let's put that in perspective too. Right now, Congress is dithering over, $130 billion, in fiscal 2023 spending. So $700 billion is huge.